Happy Sunday, everybody. I am filming current day because today's going to be a little bit of a different video. Some of you will enjoy it, some of you won't. But today I'm going over the results and my personal opinions on UFC 237. All right, so I'm going to start with I feel like are the most interesting fights. A lot of people were saying it was card of the year. From the get-go. I personally, there were a lot of good fighters on the card. I wouldn't go as far as to say it was card of the year. I think there has to be a lot more potential in matchups, and even the way the card ended, I don't think ended on a great note. So with that being said, I do not think it was card of the year. So many people were hyping this card up so hard, and so I picked what I felt like were going to be the most entertaining fights to talk about and to go over, and give a little bit of like my own personal opinions, what I think, maybe this fighter should do next or not do next. And some of the obvious ones I kind of left out just because there's plenty of people out there talking about it and I don't want to oversaturate everything. So we are going to start with Kevin Holland versus Randy Brown. It was a fight that, win or lose, either person, either person didn't have something to gain from it. Okay, Kevin Holland, I'm not a Kevin Holland fan. The guy gets on a crazy winning streak and then he loses. He's been back and forth. I think it's like he's lost 2 fights, won 2 fights, lost 2, won 2, and he just goes back and forth. So, what does that mean for him? Honestly, not sure. I think the only contender I feel that would make sense for him would probably be Jeff Neal. But Jeff Neal is also on a 2-fight losing streak, I believe, and Kevin Holland was on a 2-fight losing streak as well. So I think that's like a pretty easy matchup. I think Kevin Holland did a good job showing what he was about, but I think for him, where he's at in his career, if he actually wants to move up and do something flashy and put himself back out there, he's got to stop with the decisions. You got to go for that submission, or you got to go for the KO. So there's just, he's probably gonna have a couple more fights and get out of here, to be honest. Moving on to Patricio Pitbull versus Aaron Pico. Now, both Bellator guys. Pitbull, he's kind of like the people's fighter. He's had a lot of fights in the UFC, and I do think he's on his way out. And this fight, I think, kind of proved it. Actually, his last 2 fights kind of proved that. He's getting slower. You can kind of tell his fight IQ is just like, it's wearing down a little bit. He's missing simple stuff. Aaron Pico, on the other hand, he looked absolutely amazing. He completely dominated the whole fight, I think. And what Aaron Pico was doing just makes me more excited for like another up and coming prospect. He's not even really a prospect at this point, but I do believe that he should fight somebody good. I had been seeing on social media a lot of people throwing out really great ideas, like him fighting Gene Silva, the winner of Diego Lopez, and Steve Garcia. I think all 3 of those fights are insane fights, and I do believe that Aaron Pico deserves a shot at a good ranked contender. And yeah, I mean, Aaron Pico, he was the overall pick for me. It was a very anticipated fight. It was probably like the number 2 fight that I was really looking forward to on this card. Aaron Pico is like one of my number 1 prospects right now. I love him. I love his style. And Pitbull, whether he retires in the next fight or 2, or he keeps cranking on, like he puts on good fights. He puts on some good shows. I think he held his own for the full 3 rounds, and he took some gnarly hits, and I mean he just wouldn't iron chin. So next up, we have Johnny Walker versus Dominic Reyes. It's been circling the internet as probably the worst fight of the year so far. Johnny Walker. Let's start with Johnny Walker. If Johnny Walker doesn't end up getting kicked out of the UFC, I don't think he's going to be in the UFC much longer if he continues to lose. He's I believe that's he's lost 3 out of his last 4 fights, and his style is just there. I don't. It's like he doesn't really have a training camp, and he kind of just goes in and fights. He's really awkward in there. He's not dodging a lot of shots. Dominic Reyes, I mean, it was kind of a 50-50 fight. I felt like at one point, and I don't know. I did see word circling around Dominic Reyes versus Khalil Roundtree. They're both coming off a loss. Khalil Roundtree, I think that would make an interesting fight, and it would kind of see, a lot of people don't really... It's kind of 50-50 with Dominic Reyes, what I've seen. Some people like him, some people don't. And so I felt like him versus Khalil Roundtree. I mean, Khalil Roundtree's fought pretty much everybody, all the big names. So, it's one of those places for both of them that if Dominic Reyes does good, they give him a top 5 contender. If Khalil Roundtree wins, there's possibility for him to circle back, maybe have 1-2 more fights, and then possibly fight for the belt again. So, especially with this main event thing. So, moving on to the next fight that I think is very interesting. It ended up being fight of the night, and that is Curtis Blades versus Josh Hokett. So I'm sure breaking news is out there and everything. Josh Hokett versus Derek Lewis for the White House card. President was at the fights last night and said, hey, why is Derek Lewis not on the card? Dana White made some calls, and just so happened Josh Hokett won, and they put that fight together. So this fight, I think, the closest comparison to this fight in the type of energy and fight, and like you had two guys just going to battle, fighting each other, and none of them would give up, is the Dustin Poirier versus Dan Hooker fight in like 2021. It was a very similar fight, and if you haven't seen that fight, go watch it. If you enjoyed the Curtis Blades and Josh Hokett fight, you would love that fight. It was literally just a bloodbath. 2 guys who just did not want to give up and went in there and had fun with each other. I think it was such a fun fight to watch. There were so many times when one of them would hit and they would just get rocked, and then the other, and it was just back and forth like that. Such a cool fight. I think it made the card what it was if they didn't have that fight on there. Now here's my honest opinion. I went back and looked at the statistics, and I believe that this was a robbery of a fight. And even in the fight, Curtis Blades, as tired as he was, his cardio was a lot harder. I think he landed more significant strikes throughout the total duration of the fight. He got 2 takedown attempts out of 7. So, they judged the fight 50-50. I don't think so. I think Curtis Blades kind of had the little upper hand most of the rounds, and I don't know. Josh Hokett, nothing against him and what he does and what he performed out there and everything, but I just do think he was a little more sloppy, stomping around the cage, and I don't know what the thing with the flip off of the finger was, but yeah, it just seemed so showboaty and all that, which is, I get why they booked him versus Derek Lewis because they're both showboats. So it was a fun fight to watch. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it. I loved every second of it. I just do think that Derek Lewis deserved the win at the end of the day, and that kind of sucks to see. But Curtis, I believe, is going to be out for a while. He suffered orbital face, like fractures and cracks and I mean, he released the X-ray to his face, and it looks insane. It's like broken up everywhere. So, regardless if he won or not, he would be out. And I think the smartest thing for him is to, recover your 6 to 9 months to 12 months and take a break. I don't think Curtis Blades has very many fights left in him, regardless. So, um, at least his next couple fights will be cool, entertaining fights, and he gets to go out in like a nice, fun fashion. Last fight I'm going to talk about of the night, and I want to start by saying, if you all enjoy these videos and you like these videos, please let me know. If you don't, I'm testing the waters. I'm seeing what kind of works on my channel, and I enjoy UFC, and I want to share these things with people that do enjoy it. I want to know thoughts and opinions on the card, so please let me know your thoughts and opinions. And here we are with the main event, Jiri Prochazka versus Carlos Ulberg. Now, it is probably a devastating fight for most. I was going for Jiri Prochazka. He's a fighter I enjoy to watch. He's a weird guy. Actually, I even got a text from my best friend that he was like, I don't like this Jiri guy. He's so weird. But that's just Jiri. Like, that's Jiri Prochazka. He is like a modern day, just true samurai guy. Like, his love and passion for combat sports is on another level. I mean, this guy knows the history, and he goes out and trains in mountains and with trees, and he becomes one with the earth. Like, this guy just embraces the beautiful creation of our earth. And not only that, but like, he's so knowledgeable in all these like different types of combat sports and the way he trains, and it's unique to see because you don't see people like that nowadays. So to see somebody truly passionate about not just one combat sport, but like everything about it, and like life, and he's a new dad, and it hurt to see him so torn up about him losing, especially in the fashion that he did. So to get into it, Carlos Ulberg won by KO. Mid-fight, in round 1, Carlos Ulberg steps back, and on his back leg, there's a video where you can see, and it is now confirmed that he has torn his ACL. You can see the clip for yourself. If that grosses you out, don't watch it. But he continued to fight with a torn ACL. Not only that, Jiri Prochazka knew that something was compromised with him and started to attack his legs. So the fight kind of continues. Jiri Prochazka is just kicking at his legs. Ulberg is doing everything he can to just stay up. He's running, he's kind of running away, he's dodging and everything. He's getting in some combinations to push Jiri back. Jiri kind of ends up surrounding him in the cage, puts him up against the fence, and throughout the duration of the fight, you can kind of see Carlos Ulberg throwing that left hook, and that's essentially what knocked out Jiri. Jiri does that, like, he bounces up and down, and I think he just timed it so perfect that as soon as he came down, he came over with the hook, and it was just like a perfect distance, perfect speed, perfect power, knocking Jiri to the ground, Ulberg getting on him, and just finishing the fight. Nobody expected that to happen. I mean, it was looking so good for Jiri, and he said his worst mistake was giving Carlos or Olberg, mercy. And I think that's just where his love and passion for the sport comes in, where he's just so excited to fight and to put, learn things, and he goes into the ring, and he's just studying and he's analyzing, and he's like, what can I fix? What can I fix? And I think that's one of those moments where it's like, okay, you can do that in practice, but when it comes to a fight, I think you have to put your whole self in it, and you have to put it all in there. You have to put it all on the line. And Jiri Prochazka, essentially, who knows what's next for him? That's his fourth opportunity for the belt. There could be a possibility that, given what happened, because now, okay, Carlos Olberg is compromised. What happens next? He's going to need 9 to 12 months to recover. So I believe it's already announced, but an interim fight is going to happen. Carlos Olberg can't carry the belt anymore. So somebody's going to replace him. There could be a possibility we see Jiri Prochazka again. Maybe even, we might even end up seeing Dominic Reyes and Roundtree, whoever wins that. We could possibly even see Paulo Costa. Who knows? The Paulo Costa fight was not a fight that I wanted to go over, mostly because time. I don't want to spend too much time talking about all this. I kind of just picked the most interesting fights, but Paulo Costa did win by KO in the third round. So there's options out there. But if Jiri Prochazka gets a chance to get the intern belt and he loses, I don't know where he goes in his career after that. I don't think he might be able to move up. I think moving weight classes would probably be the only thing left for him in his career. So Carlos Olberg, he's going to recover, and we'll see what happens to him next. I personally am not a Carlos Olberg fan. However, I know he comes from City Kickboxing, which just has a fleet of amazing fighters: Dan Hooker, Alexander Volkanovski, Israel Adesanya. So the list goes on, but he it's no wonder he won, and he was dominating that fight, regardless. Coming from a gym like that, 15-1. So shout out Carlos Olberg. I'm glad you got the job done. This card was a fun card to watch. It was nice to even going back and watching these fights to get some notes for this video. Was super fun. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it. Please let me know your comments below. There's so much happening in this fight world right now, especially with this card. And as this White House card comes, it's nice because there's added things to this card that are meaningful. It's not just a card put together for fun, but these are fights that are going to mean something in the rankings and all that. So if you all enjoyed it, please let me know. I enjoy making videos like this. I enjoy talking about the UFC. I love it. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. I want to know your opinions. Thank you all for watching. I will be here tomorrow for tomorrow's video, and I hope to see you there. Thank you all for watching. Have a beautiful Monday. Starting your day off, starting your week off with an awesome recap of what happened this weekend. I appreciate you guys. Love you, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.